Hi, this is Rachel from the Dotting Center. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to dot this beginner-friendly dot mandala design. This is an easy beginner-level project that will show you all the basics on how to get started dot painting. This particular design is one that you can never practice enough. It is perfect for learning the importance of dot spacing and symmetry. And I am so happy that you're joining me today, so grab your paints and tools and let's paint together. So we're painting a canvas today. So one thing I like to do is use a Lazy Susan. This one I got for $3 at Target. You can find them literally everywhere. This is a 4-inch canvas, and we're just going to place that aside for now. I use these dividers to divide all of my canvases. There are 3 different divider stencils in this pack. You could also use a ruler if you'd like. Also need a compass, a chalk pencil. You'll also need some dotting tools. I recommend these. These are great for beginners all the way up to advanced dotting artists. A great set to start to learn on and grow with. You'll also need some stylus tools, and that's about it. Now let's talk paints. I like to use this chalk acrylic for my base coat so that my chalk pencil shows up. And then you'll want to pick 2 colors that you like, as well as gold and white. So we're going to take that chalk paint and paint our canvas, giving it a nice black background. And now let's set up our palette so that we have all of our paint colors as well as 2 tints of the colors that we have. So you want 100%, 50%, and like a 20% tint of those colors. Here's a quick hack for keeping your tools clean. Take an old sock, cut the toes out, and then put it on your wrist, and it becomes your tool clean-offinator. Now, one of the most important things you can do is divide your canvas when you're doing a dot mandala painting. I sell these 3 different divider stencils in a pack. But today what I want to show you is how to find center on a square canvas if you don't have divider stencils. So you take your ruler and you basically draw a line from one corner to the other. You make an X. What this does is it finds the exact center of your canvas. And then the next step is you want to draw a line that is like a plus sign, like a cross. So this is a 4-inch canvas, so you want to split the sides into 2 inches. Draw a line at 2 inches there, and then also on each side. Now from those lines, you want to connect them, so you're cutting it in half and then in half again. And that is how you would divide your canvas. So this method takes a little bit more time, but if you're curious, here is the 16-line divider stencil. Basically, you line it up, making sure the margins are all the same on the edges, and then you can see how many divider lines you can get using that stencil. The next step is to use a compass and add some concentric circles coming out from the center of your canvas. And you just want a few circles just to give you an idea of how to keep things in line once you're dotting. Lazy Susan is very important. This is going to keep your canvas centered so that you can keep your arm in the same location. It helps keep your dots in line. Okay, now that our table is set up, let's paint. So the first dot, we're going to use our number 13 tool, and you just want to get enough paint at the end of your tool so that it covers the surface, and then just kind of touch the surface right in the center of your canvas. So now we're going to place a dot at every divider line right on top of the line. And you just want to spend some time here and really just go slow. Make sure that you line up on top of each of those divider lines. And now what we're going to do is take that number 2 tool and go place a dot in between each one of those 2 dots. Now let's take the next size up, that's tool number 3, and using our lightest blue color, go in between each one of those previous dots. So what you're looking at is the space in between the 2 white dots, and you're just placing a dot in between those. Kind of snug it up into that space. Now we're going to switch to the next size, which is number 4. Still using that lighter blue color. And now we're going to go into that space in between the previous 2 dots. So this is the pattern. This is the entire pattern all the way out to the final circle on our canvas. You will be placing dots with each row in between the previous dots of the previous row. It's hard to describe, but I think it will make sense as we go along. So now we're going to use number 5. Use the mid-tone, so like the 50% blue, the darker blue, and we'll do the same thing and add another row. So this kind of design you really can't practice enough. It really helps train your eye to get spacing and symmetry right. And it's also pretty easy. You'll know which size tool to use next. It unfolds pretty quickly. It starts to look nice almost immediately. So you get that feedback, from your piece. Where sometimes designs can go through a pretty long, ugly stage. This one, it will immediately show off its pattern within the first 4 or 5 rows, and it will really come together. So one of the things you may or may not have noticed is my tool set is in rainbow color order. So the smaller sizes are in the warm shades, so it starts with a red, orange, yellow, and then the larger sizes are in the cooler tones, so green, blue, purple, and pink. And you basically work your way up in rainbow color order. That way you just don't have to think in numbers or millimeters, you just have to think in colors, and it's just very intuitive. Okay, so now we're using the 50% tint of that kind of terracotta color. And this is one thing you can do. You can just place a dot on every one of the divider lines. And then once you're done, you can place a dot in between and just make sure that you are have the same amount of space on either side of that middle dot. Okay, so we were using the green tool. Now we're going to use the blue tool that's next in the rainbow. We're using number 9, and we're going to use the lightest shade of that. It's like a peach color now. Once that row is complete, we're going to grab the number 10 tool and use that mid-tone of that terracotta color. And this, you'll notice, is touching the very edge of that outer circle, and that's where we're going to leave our first layer of paint. Now, once that first layer of paint is dry, you can go over the top with top dots. So we're going to come in with the number 11 tool and just place a dot right on the center, and this is the mid-tone of that blue. Okay, so now we're going to play with the smallest tool, the number 1 tool. If there is space, you want to place a dot in between each one of those white dots that we placed that first row. See if you can fit a dot in between. And we're going to work on the negative space in between each one of the dots that we have already placed. And you're going to work your way out. If you find that the space in between the dots is a little larger, try the next size up. So here we're trying the number 2 tool and the dot fits. So we're going to use that size. And basically you just kind of snug a little gold dot in between each of these negative spaces all the way out. And you can see that starts to really make that come together and come alive. I love having a metallic color as your detail dots because it really shows up in a cool way. So now for the rest of this design, we're just going to fill those spaces in between the dots using the tool that fits. If you're not sure if a tool is going to fit, you want to dry fit the tool. So just place it without any paint in between the 2 dots and account for a little bit of spread once the paint hits the canvas. So this is the process for the next few rows. You're going to just place 1 gold dot in that negative space and size your tool according to how much space you have. Really just at this point, appreciate the work that you've done up until this point. And this is kind of just the icing on the cake. Everything is very meditative, symmetrical. There's no design element that you have to really make a choice for. It is literally just symmetry and 1 dot at a time. Now that all those gold dots are painted, we're going to allow the paint to dry and come in with some top dots. Here we are with the number 9 tool right in the center with the lightest shade of blue. And what you're going to do at this point is use a size that will allow a top dot to show with a little bit of your background color showing as a margin. And use a lighter color for each of these dots all the way out until you hit the edge. So once you have a first layer of top dots all the way to the edge, you're going to let that paint dry and come in over the top of that with yet another layer of top dots. This is one of the things I love about dotting actually is the dry time because it kind of forces you to put your piece down, walk away, and come back. And I think you get to look at the piece with fresh eyes and maybe make decisions after time has passed that you might not have made if you were just gonna paint right through something. It allows you to take your time and slow down, and that's one of the great things about dotting that I love. So once your piece has all of the top dots that you can possibly put on there, you want to take a wet cloth and just wipe away all of the chalk divider lines. Make sure that, of course, that your paint is 100% dry before you do this. And just be gentle with it. You don't want to peel up any of the paint. It really comes off pretty easily. And then after that's dry, you can choose to varnish it or you can just leave it like this. And there is your finished piece. What do you think? So there it is. If you're a beginner and you tried this project, this might be one of your first paintings, and I am so psyched for you. I hope it is one of a bunch to come. And if you enjoy dot painting, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel because I have many more videos to come. And if you're looking for some tools, head on over to thedottingcenter.com and get yourself something nice. All right, guys, until next time, bye.